Okay, it's time for part 3 about how it started. And I'm sad because I see that it dropped very fast. The second part I recording, but it can happen that there is coming new listener that want to know, really know what was going on from the beginning. And I had for yesterday I had over 300 listener, so that was about that amount of listener am I pleased with every day. But it dropped when I recording my second part of my life in the spirit way, not in the word way. I'm talking about my spirit evolution, development that God have given me. Of course, God knew my whole life story before He placed me here on earth. So it's not that He looked at me when I was born and then what I did and say. That's why it says in the Bible also that we can't earn our place in heaven by our work that we do, and that means the work, the worldly, not the spirit work, but what we do here on earth. That we don't earn it because God already know how your life gonna be. So He have already chosen people for Him that is a prophet of God, and I believe that, and nothing have say against it. That I believe that every generation have had their option, their chance for them to come to know God. So it's not what men religion is talking about. They claim the whole time that they have the last prophet, that they have the prophet, and that is a lie, but they don't know it. So a lie can be that they have no knowledge. And then they can be proud and want to be like winning the war, be like a competition that they have the last prophet. There have been more prophets than year 600 somewhere. There was it Muhammad in Islam. There have been many prophets after Muhammad, and I am chosen by God to be His prophet for this generation. I don't say that I am the only one. I say that it have been many prophets in every generation, and at least one in each generation. And I'm going to recording now about when God come the first time to really talk to me. He had done that when I was 16 years old, and it was to heal a girl. But not he didn't talk to me for a long time. He only told me to go into the room. And but the first time he really talking to me was in August 2000. And what happened and what was said in that August 2000, I have found out now that it's including everything, that it have been like confirmed what God was talking about, and there is more in the picture to reveal and understand. But many things what happened that evening in August 2000 have I understood now. And I told in the last episode, part 2, that I saw an Indian girl, and then come my father, earthly father spirit, and ask for forgiveness, and then it come more other spirits that ask me to forgive them, and I have not understood it, the importance of it, to forgive. And before angels have coming here, the spirits have coming here and told me about it, why it is so very important to forgive. And that is an episode that you can find in my list here. And so I don't go into these things. And in the corner, after that those spirits have coming, I didn't see them, but I recognize my father's voice. Did I remember? And then those other spirits was what they were talking about. I understood who they were. So I didn't needed to see a body. I recognized them, my father, by his voice, but those other that have I never really met and talk, but I understood who they were in that way, how they were talking to me, what I should forgive them about. So in the corner, after those spirits have been there, I saw this white beard and white hair and eggshell color dress, like a monk, and then it was a rope around his waist, and he had sandals, and it was more this with the sandals that I was thinking. I didn't know Jesus, but I was thinking I had heard about Jesus, and then I have been to the church in Christmas time and listen at that. about when Jesus was born, and watch it on TV. So I knew Jesus in that way, and so I was thinking that it was Jesus was standing in the corner. But then have I been up to heaven, and then I have seen those men. I have seen, once I saw 6 men that look almost the same, with white hair and white beard, and they are not white in their skin. They are brownish in their skin, and then what was going on when God come in August 2000? I saw a clock in the air. It was a normal clock you have on the wall, and I saw that time when it started. God wanted me to know how long time it was, for like a hint that I understood much later what it was about. And then I saw the same clock in the end when everything was over, and I saw that it had gone 2.5 hour, and though most of what God was talking to me, half of it I know, but I didn't know those 2.5 hour. It can't have been 2.5 hour that he was spoken to me. Something must have happened when God come and talked to me, and that's why I paid to go to the hypnosis when it's open a door for me. I didn't know how it come that I go to hypnosis, but the Spirit wanted me to go to hypnosis. And so when I was in hypnosis 2018, I have recorded about it, and that is a part of this when God come, and it was the first recording of hypnosis 2018 when I come up to heaven, and then I saw Jesus on the left side in the garden, and then on the right side was it like a big cloud, white cloud, and it was so shining, so I couldn't at first I couldn't see what was inside. But Dan, the hypnosis man, he asked me, "What do you see in the cloud?" So I look again inside that white cloud, and then I saw 6 that I know today it was higher priest in heaven, and they took me into the cloud, and then I met that little girl that was me, that was 8 years old, that I talk about in part 2, that I had visions when I was a child, and so that was the half of the 2.5 hour God was talking to me. So he took me up to heaven, when he come into my home in August. I think it was 16, 2000. But he was talking to me, so I remember what he was talking about also, and that make it's includes so very much what I know today, and the highest priest that I was thinking it was Jesus, but it wasn't. It was a higher priest that stood in my room, and he have told God about me. So in that also something to learn about, that the higher priests, God could not see everything and know everything about each people's life. There is both its spirits, angels, higher priests that is around us, that check up our what we are doing and saying, and protect us. Most of all, they protect us so we don't be killed. And some religions have right in what they are saying. I don't say that all religion have wrong, because Dan, the hypnosis man, he is a Buddhist monk, like a higher priest in the Baptist, in the Buddhist, and I check it out after I have been to him. What is Buddhism, and they believe in God? Yes, they believe in God, but they believe God to be in distance. He is not around us. And now I'm talking about people that is not chosen, people that have free will. It's about you I'm talking about. I have a different way relationship with heaven, but you that have free will, you have this around you, and that help you and protect you. And if you have a distance to the spirit world, it's harder for them to help you to not be killed. So it's very important to hold some door open. You should not say that is demons that is coming and try to talk to me in dreams or in the air. That's a way to close the door to them. Or you say that you don't believe in them. That is only evil things that we should not think about. We should curse them and deny them and tell them to go back where they come from, like that. That means that you close the door to them. And that's why they sit. I have talked about it, that people have told me that they have seen angels, and angels are sitting and crying over a dead body, a dead person, because it's not the angels, the spirit's error, it's the person error, because they have denied that there is worlds around us that we don't understand, and we don't see it, and so we have hard to understand what it is, but we should never close the door. That what they say in those programs, those people that want to be wealthy in money, that people pay for them to get in touch with their spirits, and talk about the loved ones that is dead, what they are saying to them, and they don't want the to have competing in this. They want the money for what they there is a gift they have, but they also close for other people to could talk, and for them is it about be famous or earn money, so they tell you that you should close the door, and sometimes they show you what to do to close the door to the spirit world, and of course it's important to close the door if the door is about the evil things coming out from it. But that have I teach you about many times, that every spirit that is of good, that is from God, they have to go through God and ask for to be allowed to come and talk to us. And we that want to hear from our loved ones, we need to ask God to be allowed to talk to spirits. We can't speak to the angels by ourselves. We need to have approval from God. That's different. But they say it's only to close the door to them. And then you close the door to every spirit, both evil and good. And that is very sad. But people believe in this kind of things. And they are selfish, so they want only to know about the closest loved ones, mother, father, grandmother. But as you have seen, heard about me, that I have ancestor 400 or 500 years ago, and Jesus and his mother is my ancestor. Also, I have found out it in my DNA, and so it's other want to come, and I have last time I recording something that I let the spirits come through. Then it was too much spirits that come here. So suddenly I only felt that I should end the recording. So you never heard those recordings. I have done some recordings there when I don't publish it, because it's be like I feel like an empty space, like I can't go forward here, and that is because it is too much spirits, too much energy going on. And I have told them, I can only handle about 3 spirits that are coming through, and then it start to be too much, and then I be like, I think it's like a confused in the spirit, so the spirit end up, and I can't move forward, so I only close and never publish it. So I continue in what God was talking to me, in August 2000 when I should do a suicide, but the higher priest saw me and knew what I should do, so he told God about me, and that God had to come and talk to me. And the highest priest was talking about my childhood, but God was talking about my future. So that is very different from each other. God is the future. The higher priest is about what is stored in your life already. But God is talking about the future, what will happen. And I didn't understood because I have had no relationship with God. I had no clue what he was talking about, but in some way I understood it was God that was talking to me. And he confirmed who he was, that he was of the Old Testament, the God of Abraham, Moses, and all those in the old time, because he said that my daughter was in the room and she was 15 years old, so it was not time for her to be pregnant and have a child, but God was talking about her, and he said that to me, that your daughter will be allowed to carry a child in her womb. He said to me that, and I was laughing inside me, and I was thinking inside me. I didn't say it in words. I said it inside me, and I have told you that it's like a telepathy. So God heard me laughing and what I was thinking, because I was thinking that this is not God, because God should know that my daughter can't have a baby, because my daughter had Turner syndrome, so she have no ovary. She have a womb, but she don't have any egg coming out from her. She didn't have any bleeding, and so I laugh what God was saying, and then God heard it, and he said that to me. That's how Sarah was laughing when I told her, and he understood that. He knew that I didn't know the Bible, so he said that, and Abraham, and I understood. I had heard about Abraham, so I understood what he was talking about. He was talking about Abraham and Sarah, and they were very old, and God said that they should have a child, and they were laughing at him. And Sarah and Abraham was in the old time. So he told me who he was, and then after God have stopped talking to me, I was on internet, and then I saw an article from a newspaper here in Sweden that there was a professor was talking about egg donations, and it was forbidden in Sweden in that time, year 2000. But I talked to this professor that was in a newspaper and asked her if I could donate egg to my daughter because I had the bleeding. I had egg loss still. But she said I was too old. It was no quality in the egg. And she said to me that I should come up together with my daughter, come to Stockholm, to our capital town, and where she was. She was from Finland, but she had a clinic there to help people that could get children, babies, to help them to get children. And we come up, laying in McDonald's hotel for the hospital, and the professor said to my daughter and me that my daughter couldn't get any children because she have no egg coming out, but she have a womb. The professor say, so I can help you. The professor say, I do research, so I work behind the law, so I can help your daughter to be pregnant because I don't follow the law as I do the science research on these things. So I have to sign a paper that my daughter was only 15 and she have to be 18 years old to make the decision by herself. So I have to sign under a paper that I let them do research on my daughter's body, and when I sign under that paper, the professors say that to me. She have a womb. Your daughter have a womb, and she can carry a child in her womb, she say. And with the paper I sign under, it was that I make them allowed to do this on my daughter, that she can have a child in her womb by help of this professor. And the professor said that all children is born with eggs, but then is it in some cases that the egg doesn't come out, but they have still egg there, born with the egg, but it's dry out, is be killed because it's dry out the egg when they are about 17 years old. And my daughter was 15, so it was very going fast to do these things. But the professor, she couldn't do this on my daughter on her own because she didn't have that money to do this on my daughter. So she said that I needed to ask for money for this health government to give us money to do those things, to take out egg from my daughter and freeze the egg down, freezing the egg, so my daughter, when she wanted to have a child, they can take that egg and place it into her womb, so a baby can grow in that womb. But now is the question that I had for many years, that my daughter have not have any boyfriends. She have never been with a man. She is not married or engaged, and the church where she is in is the pastor that decide who is going to have children, who is going to be married, and he don't want my daughter to have a child or have a husband, because she's a worker, my daughter. She's a slave for that church. So she is not useful if she get children. And then is it only those that is related to that pastor that should marry? So she's not in that family that hold the church. She's a slave. She's in prison. And so I was thinking, what is this? Is wrong what God was telling me, that my daughter should be allowed to carry a child in her womb. But then I have understood it. God say that he say that she was allowed to have a child in her womb, and that what was happen, that the professor allowed my daughter to have a child in her womb. So when I sign under that paper and the professor say that your daughter have a womb and she can carry a child in her womb, then I understood it was God that was talking to me that evening and in my home. And so that's where I started to believe in God and know God exists. I don't believe, I know God exists. And so that was, God didn't say your daughter is going to have a child. He didn't say that. He say your daughter should be allowed to have a child in her womb. And that was, it was. He didn't say anything wrong. It was me thinking wrong. It was me that wanted to have grandkids from my daughter. That's why my brain took it up like that. I didn't really listen to what he was really saying, and that is in our nature. I was in that time very far from God, so I did my own wants in that way. I wanted a grandchild, and that's how I understood God, and it was wrong. And that was the most important things God was telling me, that he was from the old time, is from Abraham's time, and that my daughter should be allowed to have a child in her womb. And in that way I understood God had been talking to me, or else I have not understood it. And then he told me many things, but I didn't remember. But just after I had that in my mind, and it should be like that, because I should not know my future, or else I should have maybe not done it. So it should be in secret. But I remember that I was thinking, it's impossible that I can do those things that God is telling me that I should do in the future. I was thinking like that. But everything that he was telling me that evening, that I know I have done everything. And after I have done what God told me that evening, then I continue to develop my relationship with God. First part of when God come and talk to me and make me not kill myself. Instead, I have no, I couldn't choose anything. In that time, I was his. I was God's slave. I say that, and many people is going angry at me because they don't understand my relationship with God. I have to do what God tell me to do. What I get from heaven, I have to do it. I can't say that no, I have to wait for someone to come. I can do that tomorrow, like that. I can't do that. I have to do what God is telling me that I should do. And it was only a way to do it. It was only to find the money for a flight ticket, and then fly to United States and leave my husband, my HIV husband, and my daughter. I told her father you have to take care of her because I'm flying back to United States. And I don't know why didn't they stop me? Why didn't my daughter start to cry and say, Mom, stay at home, you can't go from me? And why because my daughter's father drive me to Copenhagen's airport that morning. I did flight to United States. Why didn't he ask me, what are you going to do there in United States? He's very smart man, and he should ask me, how are you going to get money like that, worldly things. He should ask me, but no one say anything about that I left. And maybe I don't mean anything for them. I was not important for them, or else did the spirit stop them from asking me why I left. My daughter, she have never knew why I left because she have never asked me. She heard it now in Mother's Day in May 2022. Did she heard that I left Sweden? I left her because God was talking to me and make me leave for come to know God in the way I was in United States, and I have to suffering in United States because I needed to know that I have protection. The devil can do everything, but he can't kill me. And that's what I come to know, and I come to know that I have protection around me where whatever happened to me, because I have talking about this where I have been in many evil things in the United States. I have had knife on my throat, and I have had a weapon targeting my head, and one come up to my door and had a bullet between his fingers, and he said, "This bullet have your name on it." And I was in 4 times in court against people that have wanted to kill me. So I had a very hard life in the United States. I was homeless, and I walk from morning when they come out from the shelter. We couldn't stay in the shelter. We have to go out. And then I was walking around and visit all kind of religious buildings and ask for help, but I didn't get any help from anyone. I got $25 like that, but that it was not about money. I needed help to be in a comfort life, to have a home, to have a place where I could feel safe. And then also, most of all, that they were sitting down and asked me, "Why are you here in United States?" Because God showed me that I should go to churches that black churches. I was not in white churches. Sometimes I was in white churches, and they didn't care there in the white churches. And in the black churches where I stick out because I was white, and no one was white in the church. So they should sit down and ask me, "Why are you here? Where are you coming from?" But no one asked who I was. So they didn't know my needs in that way. And that was a test. I did a test when I was working in United States for 3.5 years, 1,260 days, like it says in the Bible. And then I was allowed to come home. God gave me a ticket could come back to Sweden. And then when I come back to Sweden, I have nothing. I was homeless in Sweden also until I got home. And then I and God told me that I should breed cats, ragdoll cats, ragamuffins cat, real nice. And God helped me to get my 2 first cats, clean breed cats. And then I had money, so when God was telling me in 2011 that I should visit Israel, I could do that because my cat got kittens. She got 6 kittens, and then also I got money back from the tax I have paid before I left Sweden for long since 2000. Suddenly I got money back from the tax, and so I could go with expensive church, Swedish church. They have luxury hotels in Israel, and then we drive around with a bus all over Israel, and then I come to know that God that told me to go to Israel, and it was fast. I got the money in 1 month and could pay the ticket. And why God wanted me to do Israel in that time, it was because that church leader, he was Pentecostal church pastor, but then he converted to Catholic church and moved to Italy, to Rome. And so he left just after, so it was very fast. God wanted me to test this pastor, and this pastor that convert to the Catholic Church, he was very evil to me. He didn't pass the test, and he did this mock the Holy Spirit that people should not do, and then I was to God told me to go to Israel in 2013, and God told me to go in 2016 to Israel, and then God told me in 2013 to go to Africa and live with the most poor people in Africa, far away from Nairobi, out in the forest, and see how they lived. And I got the property in Kenya because people was healed, and they understood that God had sent me to Africa, and many promised me churches and these things, and I got the property real with paper from the government. And then I was I think it was 2014, I was to Portugal. God told me to go to Portugal, and I come to know I was very close to be killed in a Catholic church there. It's very much Catholic there in Portugal. And then I come back to United States in 2016, and I was to Utah, to Salt Lake City, and because I have done my DNA, and I was on my way to get help of understand my family tree, and I have not been abroad, and then it's come the pandemic, and so God have sent me to places, and in those countries where I visited, God told me to talk to some people that could have changed the whole world if they have understood and believe in me. But today I know that I am a woman, so the world doesn't believe in me because I'm a woman. They believe that it's a man that should have the close relationship with God. And in that way, I think it's very smart of God to send his prophet, and the prophet is a woman, because everyone expects a man to be. And that is a test on this planet. And it's sad. I'm waiting for is to be accepted as a woman that is close to God, and she is a prophet from God. But no one listen, not here either in the podcast. Is very few people. When God come to me and talked to me in year 2000, and he sent me to United States, I was thinking, I am going to be very famous. I sit in television and talk about how God come and talk to me, and I was thinking like that in the beginning, but I understood it very fast. That is not what's going to happen, because no one think that a poor person and a poor woman, and I was 50 years old in United States, and that I have not been famous and have lots of money, so that can't be someone that is sent from God. Not the woman. She should come with a luxury car. She should come with a private jet, airplane, a private airplane, and have all things going on. So that's God to test on this world, and I'm waiting for someone to open the door that is the truly main door for heaven to come down here all over the world, and not only in my home, that they will be welcome into this world. But the world doesn't want heaven to come. People think they have a relationship with God, and they have another God than this God of Abraham. And I'm waiting. I maybe go back to God. God maybe called me before it happened that the world accept me. And I'm glad it's going home, because I don't need the fame. I don't need any money. I only need to go home when it's time to go. It's God that decide when it's time to go, and it doesn't depend on God. It depends on what we do here on this planet. If someone accepted me to be a prophet from God, the door will be open. But I'm sad to say that I think I doubt that the world will accept me, because I'm a woman.